This may seem hard to imagine, I'm sure it will, but guys can actually meet chicks while locked up. I know that sounds crazy, and I'm not talking about guys dressed as girls. I'm talking about actual females. A lot of prisoners spend their time, however much time that they have to serve, completely alone. And to be honest with you, I was one of those prisoners for many years. Many years. In fact, my first 5 years, I actually spent completely freaking alone. Tom Hanks' Castaway. I was talking, I don't have a ball here. I've got a roll of toilet paper. Well, son, you are my only friend. I actually did this while I was in prison in isolation one time. I drew a little face on a roll of toilet paper, and this was what I talked to maintain my sanity. Sometimes I feel like I'm just talking to a roll of toilet paper. But other times, I do feel like you understand me. Why so sad, Batman? You don't get me at all. I did go through quite a bit of time that I spent completely alone. I did, however, after 5 years of being completely alone in prison, find out that there were actually like 5 different ways that guys do meet girls while locked up. And I'm not going to tell you if any of these ways ever worked for me or not. How can I do that more dramatically? But I do know for a fact these ways, they do work. Hypothetically speaking, we're just going to use this as me telling you about other individuals that I know who have used these methods, and that these methods, they work. So, without further ado or bullshit in this video that I know I've already filled it up with thus far, let us talk about the 5 ways that guys do meet girls while in prison. Number 5. Prisoner pen pal services. There are quite a few of prisoner pen pal services where you as a prisoner can send money from your commissary funds, if you have any commissary funds, to one of these services, and they will let you write up an ad. They will give you X amount of words that you can use, almost like you're tweeting something. Instead of 140 characters, you're gonna have 250 words to get your point across to the world in hopes that some chick is gonna see this ad and possibly want to write you. Who cares what she looks like, whether she's 250, 350, 450, 600 pounds. Hell, she may not even be walking. I actually saw a guy, he met a chick. I don't remember how he met her exactly, but I did see him in the visitation room. She was in a wheelchair, an electric wheelchair. And I'm not making fun of this chick at all, but you got to imagine this kid, he was a kid, he was like 20 years old, and his boo, who was coming to see him, was like 50 in an electric wheelchair. Boy, the romance that can blossom while you're incarcerated. You just never know who you're gonna fall in love with while locked up. But these prisoner pen pal services, they charge you something like $50. That is a lot of money for a prisoner to spend on a fishing line. Basically, you're just casting out that fishing line, hoping that someone's gonna bite. I have seen quite a few prisoners use this method and have had girls writing them from all over the globe. That is number 5. The number 4 way that guys meet chicks while locked up is through placing an ad in a small-time newspaper. Now, I say small-time newspaper because to place an ad in a major newspaper is going to cost a ton of money. Placing an ad in a small-time newspaper is going to cost a small amount of money. And it's even cheaper than placing an ad through a prisoner pen pal service thing. So if you were to spend $50 through the pen pal service, you could spend something like $20 with a small-time newspaper, possibly get an ad for about a month. I've seen that work as well. The number 3 way that guys meet chicks while locked up is through visitation. You could be going into a visit to see whoever, your grandmother, your sister, your brother, your mother, whoever possibly comes to see you, if anybody comes to see you at all. And you could be in there sitting with your brother, mother, cousin, father, sister, person, and maybe you catch the eye of somebody in there visiting somebody else. Maybe it's the sister of a prisoner that you know. I have seen relationships spark up this way as well. And sometimes it's really not good how visitation romances blossom between one prisoner sitting at one table visiting with whoever, and some chick sitting at another table visiting with whoever herself. Because sometimes it will be the girlfriend of another prisoner. It's the craziest thing in the world. I have literally seen this happen. I know personally of a guy, he is a complete scumbag for this, but he literally would go into visitation every week seeing whoever was coming to see him. And every week he would be in there, he would see this other guy who was in there visiting with his wife, not even his girlfriend, his wife. I guess through the googly eyes, whatever googly eyes look like, of him being in there every weekend at the same time she was in there visiting with her prisoner husband. Somehow they got like acquainted. I don't know how. Maybe at the snack machine. Hey, I noticed you were over here at the snack machine getting a Mountain Dew and a bag of gummy bears. How you doing? But however it happened, this prisoner went home before the prisoner husband of the girl and ended up basically ruining the relationship for this prisoner husband dude and his wife, because yes, he did sleep with the guy's wife. Visitation is another way that guys do meet chicks while locked up. In some cases, it's kind of a fucked up way, but it does happen. Prison is cutthroat. Nobody cares about anybody else in prison. It's all for themselves, except for Joe. Joe was never on that type of time at all. Something else that falls into the another inmate thing, so this will go with number 3 as well, is actually meeting a chick through another prisoner. And what I mean by this is, say you've got your buddy who's in prison with you, he's got a girlfriend, she possibly has a friend, we could all be friends, and you ask your buddy, hey, I couldn't help but notice that you get on the phone every single day, you get letters every single day, and I have absolutely no one. Is there any chance in hell that you could potentially ask your girlfriend if she had a friend for my sorry, miserable, lonely ass over here? And at times, your prisoner friend may say, yeah, sure, no problem. Let me see if she has any friends. And I have seen magic blossom from this type of a situation as well. The number 2 way that guys meet chicks while in prison, this is not going to seem hard to imagine at all, but is actually meeting a female through the prison staff. I know I have spoken about this in a previous video, but this really does happen a lot more than you think. You have to imagine that there is a good amount of females that work at most prisons, maybe some more than others, and these females have all sorts of different jobs in the prison, whether it's actual guards, nurses, counselors, clerical women who work in the offices of the prison. There are ways that prisoners actually get chances to mingle with these females, spark up an old conversation. Hey, I can't take you out to dinner, but I could offer you a honey bun and a lukewarm cup of coffee. How's that sound? And through this interaction that these prisoners do get with these female staff members at the prison, relationships do blossom, sexual situations do arise, even pregnancies. You couldn't believe the amount of drama that at times happens behind the fences in a prison. And that is why that is number 2, because that happens quite a bit actually. But all of this brings us to the number one way that guys meet chicks while locked up, and that is through the infamous Holy Grail Mecca known as Craigslist. It sounds crazy. Who would have even thought that guys could meet chicks this way? But this happens a lot. Craigslist, a place where you can place a personal ad for free. All you need is a means on the outside to get this ad placed. You can include as many pictures as you want. You looking all swole and buffed up because you just did 1,000 push-ups before you took this picture. You would never believe the amount of crazy stuff that guys do when it comes to actually taking pictures in prison. Let me put this baby oil all over my chest so I look all shiny like a professional wrestler. But I'm really in prison and I have nothing. You can include as many words as you want. You can say anything that you want. Before prison, I was an astrophysicist. I don't even know what the fuck that is. And it's through Craigslist that I have seen prisoners have the most amount of success with. I've seen guys get more mail than they knew what to do with because of this site. I've seen guys who have more chicks than they can possibly write and pawn chicks off to friends, even charging buddies, hey, give me 10 ramen noodles, a bag of cheese puffs, and a sardine. And you can have this one right here. Hell, I don't even care who it is because I'm winning. I'm getting all sorts of mail in here thanks to Craigslist. Yeah, that really works well for guys when they're locked up. Of course, nobody really wants to ride out the time with you. You will potentially lose every friend that you ever knew in the free world due to your incarceration, because one thing about it, time does not stop for anyone. The world will continue to spin while you are locked up, and that is just the facts of prison life. And even with that being said, there are so many women out there in the world who actually want to be with a guy who is locked up. I know that sounds crazy, but you have to imagine there are these women, this certain select group of women who have been so hurt and crushed by every man that they have ever known in the free world, that to write to a prisoner, get to know him, possibly blossom some sort of relationship with him, in their mind, I imagine that they believe that this guy, he can't hurt me because he's locked up and he's gonna treat me like gold. That is facts. Hey, look, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment. Let me know exactly what you think about it. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace! Let's give a few shout outs here, starting with old Instagram. Let's shout out Blank Shot, BSO, John Craddock 22, and Mario House Party 1. Major salute to you all. Thank you for your support of After Prison Show. You all rock. From Twitter, let's shout out Zoe, Aki, and Gavin Shepard. Special thanks to all of you for rocking with APS on Twitter. For my last video, let's shout out some awesome people who commented on that. Definitely shout out to Joseph Burke, who says, who else got recommended this channel from YouTube and haven't stopped watching since? Joseph Burke, thank you for your support, and everybody else who liked that comment as well. Kickface says, hey, maybe you want to trim your hair a little bit. Why? Why, Kickface? We're roughing it over here. You triggered? Awesome content, man. Awesome comment. Thank you very much. And one more. Who we got? The Apple community. Can someone do a compilation of every time he leans into the camera? Oh, I'm sure that will be coming at some point. Hey, thanks to everyone for rocking with APS. That's it. Until next time, peace.